Welcome to the Hilltop Plant Nursery. We specialize in Louisiana natives, special pass-along plants, tropicals, and rare, hard-to-find introduced plants. What we're talking about today are what I call our spectacular Louisiana natives. Low maintenance is key. We want plants that can survive in our climate, especially our hot summers. We want survivor plants, not prima donnas. It's okay too to mix and match native plants and introduced species as well. Our goal is to have more natives in our gardens that we design and plant. Today we're going to talk about one of my spectacular favorites, and that is American beautyberry, or French mulberry, called Calocarpa americana. It's an easy to grow plant, tolerates poor soils, has a wonderful structural form. In the winter you have this graceful arching form. As you can see, graceful form grows up. We have just the sticks showing in the winter. As spring comes along, small light pink, rose pink flowers form where these berries are. Then over spring they gradually turn green and then turn purple as they get into summer. And then in the fall the leaves turn yellow and fall off early in the season. So you're left with just the clusters of berries on the stems, which is a favorite for birds. Interesting plants to combine with these are hydrangeas, and also in the front of a bed you can use grasses. Being that this is a somewhat tall structure, several feet tall, you would put this in the back of your bed. Hydrangeas might go a little bit in front of it. And one of the other spectacular natives that I really like is the oak leaf hydrangea. This is another plant that has year-round seasonal beauty. Starting in the spring, it makes elongated white flower blooms. Elongated, not so much the rounded form as the mop heads are. As that flower develops into late spring and into summer, it gradually changes to pink and then to brown, and lingers on the plant for a long period of time. Even in the winter, there's an interesting structure to the plant in that it has a very exfoliating bark, like it looks like it's peeling, and then as the new buds form, they have a neat little fuzzy texture. Another hydrangea that I really like too that Hilltop has is a hydrangea macrophylla. It's not a native, but it's a very interesting introduced variety called After Midnight, and it has really deep pink purplish blooms that can range to dark purple depending on your soil acidity. The more alkaline it is, it has this really deep, rich purple red color, and then in a more acid soil it's a deep purple blue. And another interesting plant that could be combined with the oak leaf hydrangea is the limelight hydrangea that has a light lime colored, more roundish bloom. Both those are two great choices that we have here at Hilltop. One thing about planting the beautyberry and the hydrangea is that the beautyberries can take a more difficult soil condition, more heavier clay soils, more poor soils. But when you start getting into the hydrangeas, you really need to be using raised beds. But I use raised beds for everything actually, but hydrangeas especially need to be in a raised bed where you might dig your hole 2 pots wider than the pots you have, and use like a time-release fertilizer. And if you're planting anything this time of year, make sure you have irrigation. These plants too are more suited to part shade. Like the beautyberry, it'd be part shade, but you want to have some morning sun to encourage blooming. The same for the other hydrangeas. It even might have a northern exposure, be part shade, maybe with a northern exposure for our climate. But just make sure you have irrigation if you're planting this time of year. Hydrangeas, especially the macrophylla, take a good bit of water. As we move on to sun varieties, another exciting favorite is the swamp sunflower. We have some really good specimens of that too at Hilltop near the back office. It grows to several feet tall and can make a screen in the back of a bed or border. It can tolerate, as its name suggests, it can tolerate marshy conditions like wet soils, poor soils. It grows to several feet tall. Each stem produces 3 to 16 flowers per stem. You might consider cutting this back in early summer to encourage more stems, more blooming. Another interesting plant to combine with this one would be the swamp milkweed, Asclepias incarnata. It's another one that requires kind of similar soil conditions, like the swampy, same thing. Swamp, implies poor drainage, and so it's kind of the same situation between the swamp milkweed and the swamp sunflower. It doesn't grow quite as tall as the sunflower, but they could be mixed together in a bed. They have similar soil conditions, similar light conditions, full sun mostly, full sun, part sun, and these make a nice, beautiful pink cluster of flowers that attracts our monarchs and other butterflies and other pollinators. In the front of the bed, if you have a little bit more drainage, you can go with our regular butterfly weed, the Asclepias tuberosa. It takes more of a raised bed situation with better drainage. Think drier plants. It grows to about 2 feet tall, so it could be in the intermediate range in a bed. It produces like beautiful orange flowers. It's a favorite of monarchs and other butterflies and other pollinators. Deserves to be planted a lot more, and we carry it year-round at Hilltop. Things you can pair with the milkweeds like this in things that need drier conditions would be things like our red salvia. This red salvia. It's a Louisiana native too. It's one of the easiest salvias to grow. It can go to 2 to 3 feet. You cut it back midsummer, get it to bush out for fall. It's a favorite of pollinators and bees, and one of the easiest ones to grow. Other plants that can be combined with these are there are lantanas, there's other salvias that would blend well with these full sun type plants. Other plants too to consider with swamp sunflower might be, you could consider the rose mallow. The swamp rose mallow would be a good choice with similar, you have to think similar soil conditions, similar lighting conditions, similar watering conditions when you group plants together. With the regular milkweed, with things like the Joe Pye weed or the porter weeds are good choices, easy choices to mix with these plants. As always, we're here at Hilltop to push natives, produce pollinators. It's an exciting time for us here at Hilltop. Please come by and visit us.